All right. Thank you for joining me. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Christy Iwuchukwu's Brilliance TV show. We do this show every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I am delighted coming to you with a special guest all the way from Canada. But before I tell you about my guest, who am I? My name is Christy Iwuchukwu, aka Lady Christy. I am the CEO and founder of Chosen Path Global, helping new and aspiring women entrepreneurs to unleash their confidence and rock their brilliance. And this show is where we bring and spotlight today's top business leaders, entrepreneurs, unique and most successful individuals. And that's where you come in, because this show is for you. It's about your journey. It's about how you can share your brilliance and be able to impact lives and help other people, because you've already been through it. Now it's your opportunity to share your message. But before I go further, I just want to remind you that I want you to be a part of this community. I cannot do what I do without you. So I want you to bring your questions, to bring your friends, and every week I bring experts from various topics, and they're going to share tools and strategies to help you move to the next level. Also, I do have a summit coming on the 24th of March. 24th of March. I have a summit, virtual summit coming on. And if you would like to be a speaker on that summit, please contact me at chosenpathglobal.com. Again, it's chosenpathglobal.com. And I would love to have a conversation, whether you're calling to schedule a free appointment to talk with me and see how we can unleash your confidence and have you rocking in no time. I want you to contact me again, chosenpathglobal.com, or you can email me at info@chosenpathglobal.com. But let me tell you about my guest star today. I am so delighted. Again, she's coming to us from all the way from Canada. I'm talking to Eileen Head. So who's Eileen? Eileen is a personality and relationship expert, and she is going to be sharing with us information tips so that we don't have to have a bad relationship. So listen, I want you to hear from Eileen, not from me, because I am not an expert when it comes to relationship. I know what to do and how to help you unleash your confidence, but definitely not in relationships. So without further ado, I want you to bring out your pen, your paper, your iPad, whatever, and also invite a friend as well. Please help me welcome Eileen Head. Eileen, are you there?
I am. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I know it's late over in Canada right now.
No,
right?
It's only 7 o'clock.
It's only 7 o'clock. Okay. So listen. Wow. You helped me out. You joined the speaker summit that I held on last month, and you and I have been connecting ever since. And we're gonna do and collaborate on more events in the future. So
yeah, definitely.
Welcome. So wow, I know you have a lot of information to share with us, but I'm just, for people who don't know who Eileen is, tell us, I want you to go ahead and pull the curtain a little bit, pull the curtain back a little bit and share with us, who is Eileen and what is that defining moment for you? Have you always been this brilliance, and when did it all begin for you that you come to now embrace your brilliance?
Well, it's been a journey, as it is generally for all of us. And we start out generally from a place where we're stuck and we're struggling. And that usually propels us forward to find answers for ourselves. And that was the case for myself. So I met my husband when I was 16. We married when I was 18. And I thought he was my Prince Charming and that we would be married forever. And even from the very beginning, there seemed to be a wall between us. And I didn't know what that was, but being young, I thought, oh, we'll just figure it out as we go along. And so through the years, it almost seemed like there was a glass wall between us. And I didn't know why that was. He was my silent partner. And I didn't know how to connect with him, at least not in a way that I really needed. And whatever I tried just seemed to shut him down, or he would withdraw. And I didn't know what it was that I was doing. So I searched for answers. I read stacks of self-help books. I read marriage manuals. And I took lots of workshops on personal growth. And those helped me a lot for myself. But in my relationship, I couldn't figure it out. And I would see other couples, and I would see them, they'd be comfortable with each other, and they would seem to have their own language. And I would think, what's their secret? Why can't I figure that out? And that's why I wrote my book, Why Can't I Figure Us Out, which was the journey. So I kept searching for answers. And, through a lot of that journey, I felt not enough, not good enough, chronically unhappy, and powerless to change, because everything that I attempted to change, it just didn't work. And, I focused on my kids. I did, I was a good wife doing what I thought was being good, but it just wasn't working. And so I'd often go to bed at night, and I would go over a situation over and over in my mind. And I think many of you can relate to that, where we're in bed and we're going, what did I say? What should have I said? Could have I said it differently? How could I make it different? And I almost drove myself crazy. And through that 35-year marriage, I got to a point where I almost felt like I was having a nervous breakdown. I was crying all the time, and I just didn't know what to do. And so when we do everything that we know how to do and there's no answers, I came to believe he just didn't love me. And I think that's what happens to many of us. And so I left that 35-year marriage. And when I did, I found the Enneagram personalities. And it was the biggest aha moment in my life, because it was so specific. When I read my profile, it told me all sorts of things about myself that I didn't know, what other people valued in me. And I believe that most people don't know what others value in them, and they're looking for that in all their relationship validation. Do you value me? Do you value me? And that can get really confusing, because different personalities will react to you differently. And so when I read my profile, it showed me my strengths, the great things about me, and it also showed me some of these other things over here that stung a bit, the challenging parts that I knew about, but I didn't want other people to see. And even though I knew other people did see them, I just didn't know what to do with them. And then I read my husband's profile, and in about 35 minutes, I knew more about him, myself, and our relationship than in all those years we'd been together. And I could see the dance that we did, blindfolded, unconscious, and unaware. And so that's when it lit me up. I thought, I've struggled for 35 years. Here are answers that are very, very specific. And that's when I started to take my Enneagram training.
Awesome. So can you expand a little bit on that type of training that you took that helped you so much? Because I'm sure there's a lot of us who would like to know more of that training.
Yeah, the Enneagram is a personality model, and it's unique from other personality models like Myers-Briggs or Colors or DISC, in that it has what's called a path of development. So it shows you, like, personalities are just patterns of behavior. And we put ourselves in the box and we go unconscious with these patterns, and we really develop them. They can be our strengths, but they can also keep us stuck. And so what the Enneagram does is it says, here's what we love about your personality, here's your strengths, but here's the patterns that are going to keep you stuck. And so it brings you consciously aware of what they are, and then it very specifically tells you what patterns to change for each of the 9 personalities. So you're one of those 9s. And what it really does is it gives you a clear picture of, who am I? What's my value? And in understanding this, it leads to confidence and courage, and it helps us create a new energy and a new outlook and tools that we can use every day. And it helps us to understand other people, because we have different perspectives from our different personalities. And so people will either say to me, the Ennea what? Or they'll say, oh, I love the Enneagram because it is so transformative and life-changing. It really is the key to unlocking true understanding of the depth of our being. And so we can understand how other people think, feel, act, and react. And when we understand that their behavior is not really about us, we don't need to personalize it. It's a pattern that they do have. And so it's really cool because it's a tool that you can use that's going to help you in your personal relationship, parents, children, siblings, boss, co-workers, and even ex-partners, so you can get along really well.
Wow. So what would you, based on your teaching and helping a lot of clients, what do you think is the number one bottleneck when it comes to people getting along, whether we're talking about individually or whether we're talking about business?
Well, the number one reason that relationships fail is because we don't understand each other's personality perspectives. And until you do that, you're not going to be able to build those close, conscious relationships. 2/3 of what couples fight about are individual personality perspective differences. And I find whatever the relationship is, people do one of two things. They either speak up and get really frustrated when the other person doesn't react because they don't know what to do about it either, or they stuff it down and they don't say anything. And you lead these silent lives where resentment starts to build up and erode the relationship.
Wow. So I'm just going to use myself as an example. I am a heart-centered person. And so for me, having a relationship, touchy relationship, is that important to me because that's how I am wired. Now, when I'm in a relationship with someone who doesn't do that, what I'm hearing you saying is that that's just who they are. But what will make it easier? Well, that you think it's really trying to figure out learning this from the beginning before you get into the relationship? Or do you find that someone can manage and stay by learning the other person, even though that's not what fulfills the other person or what fulfills you?
Right. What happens in relationships, they can be our greatest support and they can be the foundation of our lives when they're working well. Sometimes we can lose ourselves in the relationship when we haven't done the internal work of who am I, what is my value, what is my fundamental core emotional needs. And so ideally, before you get into a relationship, when you do this work, you attract a person that is also more conscious, more aware. If, like me, who married young, neither one of us had those skills and tools, the relationship was a struggle because we did not know how to communicate. We didn't want to bring things up. What happens in couples is their fear is that their differences are going to break them up. Mm-hmm. Their frustration is they don't know what to do with their differences. And so the challenge is, what do we do now? If it's laid on the table and we can't resolve it, that you end up having the same fight over and over. So when the Enneagram shows you what your patterns are, what your similarities and your differences are together, then you know what's happening, why, and how to change it. And when you can get rid of a lot of this other stuff, it helps you to go to your heart, because then you can be more vulnerable. You can ask your partner to support you in your growth. Like, I'm working on this challenge right now. Would you be willing to help me with it and be patient with me while I'm working on that? And so it's an amazing tool, either for your own individual growth and or in your relationships, maybe even with your parents or your children.
So then what, in your own work, in what way do you think people really sabotage their relationship?
Well, the three reasons we sabotage our relationships is, number one, we don't know our personality wiring. We don't know what our core fundamental emotional need is. So we are unable to communicate it. We are unable to ask for what we need. We don't know our couple dynamics. And we don't know what to do with the differences. And so I'm so passionate about this work because I have researched and spent years researching and then used this Enneagram, which is an amazing tool, as the foundation to really help people understand who they are to the depth of their being. Because most people say, you know, I really need to figure myself out. Like, sooner or later you come to the point where you know, I need to figure some things out for me here, and then I need to make some decisions. And the decision needs to be choose to take action, choose to move forward rather than staying stuck.
Wow. I mean, you drop a lot of nuggets for us here. And audience, if you, it's still not too late to invite somebody out there to share in this great information. We're talking about Eileen Head, talking about our relationship, how not to sabotage your relationship. And this is really a good information for us to share with other people as well. So
well, there was a question. There was a question that was posted, and they said, well, one of your partner doesn't take the Enneagram. And here's
I was going to ask you that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I had a client come to me and she said, you know, our marriage is pretty good. The kids are gone, but it's really kind of flat. And I really don't know, you know, I want some growth for me. So she came to me as a client. And so we started working on figuring out what her personality type was. And then we figured out what her husband's personality type was. And I introduced to her some opening statements and some things that would help her communicate to him, such as, you know, I'm really working on me, and what I've learned about myself was this, this, and this. And I didn't realize that about me before. Have you seen that in me? So I'm going to be working on that. And then they can say, you know, I really want to understand you better as well. I'm not sure if this is true for you, but could you tell me, do you identify with this? And so, for instance, say, for instance, the partner is a questioner personality that has high fear, high worry, high anxiety. They could say something like, you know, tell me what happens when you get triggered into fear. You know, sometimes I see you spiraling. Do you relate to that? And then it opens up all this conversation. You can say, you know, what I've learned about your personality is I didn't realize that before, that you need safety and assurance. I can give that to you now.
Wow. You know, as I hear you talking, there's certain things we didn't learn in school. And communication, even though we learn language in school, communication really is the foundation if we're going to be in the relationship. Unfortunately, it's not one of those subjects that we learn, but don't learn in great detail.
I know.
So, I mean, it's like it affects most of us, and that's why we have a high divorce rate now. Mm-hmm. And if we will introduce this type of work in school, there's no doubt that it will help a whole lot of people. Unfortunately, that's not one of the subjects we have in the curriculum.
And I wished we did. You know, I really wished we did. Can I share with you what I learned about our couple dynamics? Because that's where my work mostly is.
Please do so.
So I learned that I was a two-supporter personality. Like you, I'm very heart-centered, and I require a close connection. And I didn't realize that that's what I was looking for. So I was really intent on this relationship. So I was really focused on this relationship. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that my patterns were intrusive to him and his personality. And so he would withdraw because he felt me controlling. He would withdraw to maintain his identity and his independence. I would see that as rejection. And for his personality, I did not realize that the fundamental core emotional need is peace and harmony, avoiding conflict. So he would never speak up because he didn't want the conflict and he didn't know what to do with it. And in a nutshell, that's sort of the dance that we did all those 35 years. And neither of those specific personalities, those two, are good at speaking up for what they need. So we did this dynamics for 35 years.
Wow. So take me back to your to your old 16-year self, what advice would you give to your old 16-year self if you were to go back now?
Well, my advice from my two-supporter personality, because it'll be different for each personality, is I believe that in order to get love, I needed to give to everyone else. I needed to put everyone else before myself. And my belief that love was not unconditional, that I had to give. And then those patterns got so ingrained that I wasn't good at receiving either. And when I came to realize that, gee, even though I want to give to people and I love giving, that sometimes I was disempowering other people in doing that. And that was a huge eye-opener for me. I need to be aware that when I'm giving and helping, I need to become more aware of boundaries. I need to ask permission. And I do my life very, very differently now.
Wow. So then would you say that when you have couples, whether in marriage or just not in marriage, when you have couples that are together, whether they're dating or not, and their patterns are different where they cannot really relate to each other, how do you handle that? Would you suggest they don't go into that relationship at all? Or would you suggest that they seek out help before getting into the relationship?
Definitely, because personality is formed by about the age of 7. When you look out on your family of origin and you decide you need to play a certain role and be a certain way to get the most love and attention. And then those beliefs go unconscious. And so it can be really hard for us to realize what it is we really need. So remind me of the question. Sorry, I got off on another tangent here.
No, I'm saying, yes, I'm sorry. I was asking you, what would you suggest then?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
Well, anytime when you do personal growth for yourself, it's a huge win in confidence and self-worth and self-value. That really helps you then to get out of your own stuff and become more aware and conscious of other people. So definitely, if you're in a relationship and you're struggling, this information can help you so quickly, because you just start to understand, like, I didn't have your life experiences. I don't have your belief. So maybe your need is to have fun all the time, which can seem really irresponsible to another personality. Or maybe you're OCD about organization and your partner who fell in love with you loved that in the beginning, and now it's driving them nuts. So you come to understand people at a very deep level, and especially your partner, and you have compassion with it. Then with this common knowledge, you can have things like I teach in my program. You can have a funny thing like you put up your hand and you say peanut butter, and it's a sign to the other person, oh, I'm going into that pattern again. And you start working together, and it becomes the dance of love, of compassion, of understanding, and growing together.
You know, the more I listen to you, the more I realize that in order for this, and correct me if I'm wrong, in order for this to really work and help couples or help anyone, that the two people involved, those people that are involved, have to know about what you're talking about.
Nope.
No? Okay.
Actually, no.
That's why you are an expert. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. Because I know this so well, and I know every other personality, I know all their behaviors, whether they're unhealthy behaviors or healthy. So even when I've recently had a situation where someone was really upset with me, and I could see it was her own stuff, but I didn't become reactive. I stayed in present, I stayed in integrity, and I was able to lead us through that situation without reacting, without saying to them, well, who do you think you are? And, as she's throwing these darts at me, I could let the darts go past me and stay present and calm. And I really helped that. We came around at the end to where she was really seeking advice from me and seeking validation. And I could give that to her without going into my own stuff. That would have been very different before.
Okay, audience, I see that we have a lot of questions, so I am going to, in a few minutes, attend to your questions. But before we do that, I'm going to go back and ask Eileen, as we come to the end, do you have a way for the audience to contact you?
I do. My website is eileenhead.com. That's EILEENHEAD. And on that website, I have lots of resources for you. You can start by taking the fun quiz, fun-free quiz. I've got the webinar that is about the reasons you sabotage your relationship. And I have an online Get Love program, but there's lots there. Start with a fun quiz. And, you know, you can always contact me. I'm passionate about what I do.
I can tell you are so passionate about what you do, and I can't wait to bring you back, because this is one topic I believe is really very important, that whether we're talking about business relationship, couples relationship, or just individual, when you get to learn how the other person is wired, it will definitely make a difference. So audience, I just want to remind you that I have a virtual summit coming on the 24th of March. If you would like to be a speaker, I would love to have you as a speaker. Please contact me, email me at info@chosenpathglobal.com. Excuse me, info@chosenpathglobal.com. And also, if you would love to contact me, I would love to speak with you on coaching. Let's unleash your confidence and rock your brilliance. You can go to chosenpathglobal.com. Again, chosenpathglobal.com, and you can either sign up to be in a mailing list or contact me, and I'll be more than glad for us to just chat and get to know each other and have a conversation and see how I can support you in your growth. It's about speak up and speak out, gain confidence to go after your dreams. So thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I look forward to bringing you back for a lot of information for you to share with our audience. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.